about drawing just basic three-dimensional forms. Remember that shapes are flat and forms are three-dimensional. We have the difference between 2D and 3D. So if I'm looking at this, the square, right, just the square itself would be 2D. But when I turn it into something three-dimensional, it becomes a form or a cube. So the trick here is to think flat. You don't want to think about drawing this cube. You want to think about drawing lines and shapes. Just like when you were doing upside down practice, you want to think about the lines and the shapes. So the trick that I suggest is to give yourself reference points. So I'm going to use pencils, which you can too, because you all have pencils. I'm going to try to back that up just a minute. So the first one goes parallel to your eyes. So I'm not going to put it like this, and I'm not going to put it like this. I want it to be parallel to my eyes. And I'm going to put that right at the edge of the object. The other one then goes perpendicular to that to make a 90-degree angle. All right, so actually I'm going to do this so it lays flat. Well, that one's too long. Oh well, it'll work. Okay, so I'm going to do this so that it lays flat for the sake of our conversation here. All right, so I've started with one reference point that's parallel to my eyes, the other one that's perpendicular, so it makes a 90-degree angle. So all I have to do then on my paper is start by using a sharp pencil. Start by laying down that right angle. So it just looks like an L. See how these lines, well, now I moved my pencil, whoopsie. So see how these lines correspond with these lines. So now I have something flat as a reference. And I'm going to continue thinking flat by just looking at the table. So I'm going to look at this negative space or the empty part here, and I'm just going to draw the table. So when I look at this, I see a right triangle. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to draw in my right triangle. You can draw lightly to start with because you can always erase things later. It's better just to leave the lines and erase what you don't want at the end. Okay. Same thing on the other side. So I can see here, granted it's open, but there's still, if I put this here, whoops, you can't see. Try this. There we go. There's still a triangle there. So I'm going to make sure that my corner touches, and I'm drawing this part of the table. All right. Now, just like building a house, you don't start by building the roof. You start with the foundation. So now we have a foundation and we're going to build up. So I'm just going to put my pencil up here and see, well, these are exactly vertical. And I can only see 3 of them. We know this one's back here, but we're not drawing it because we can't see it. Right now we can only see 1, 2, 3 verticals. Now a vertical has to stay up and down or parallel to the edge of your paper. So I have one here already, and I'm going to just build straight up. You want to try to make sure that this is staying parallel. It's real easy to make it curve, but you want it to stay nice and straight. Okay, so now from here, I just have to put the top on. Now, pay attention because the bottom that I already have drawn runs parallel to this edge that I can see and this edge that I can see. Just like this one that I've already drawn is the same as this and this. So all I have to do are make my drawing look like railroad tracks. So I'm going to extend this out because it's easier to see if they run parallel. I don't know if, yeah, you can see that line. Okay, so I have that one and this one already drawn. So I'm going to check. This line goes with this one. So here we go. We've got this, and then we put in the railroad track. See how these two run the same direction? Then, same thing over here. I've got this line as a reference already. I'm going to put this one on here, make sure it runs the same direction. Now here's where people get confused. A lot of times these end up looking like this. So we get this one. Okay, if you make this mistake, do not feel bad, it's very common. But see how this is poking up? It doesn't lay flat because this line has to be parallel with the other two that go the same way. So in order to make that lay down, I have to make it parallel to its friends. It looks really dramatic right now because I have that wrong line in there. So once you're here, where's my eraser? Once we get to here, we just commit to the ones we want to keep. Darken them up a little bit here. And erase the ones we don't want. Okay, so you're only drawing lines you can see. I know that when you're doing a cube, somebody at some point probably taught you. See, there's my cube, all right? I erased part I wanted to keep, so I'll have to fix that. So at some point, somebody taught you to do this. Square, square, connect the lines, all right? You've seen this, right? It's a see-through one. Well, that's all fabulous if you're drawing a cube. It does not work if you're going to draw something else. If I wanted to draw a Gatorade bottle, I wanted to draw a tree, I wanted to draw a backpack or a shoe, you can't do it this way. So yes, it works for a cube, but that's it. It only works for a cube. Maybe a rectangular prism, right? Okay, we're going to talk about that in a different lesson because the proportions are different. All right, one more. Let's look at a cylinder. Okay, so I'm going to use the same. Let me turn this over so we're not distracted by my see-through cube. I'm going to use the same trick. We have reference points. So I'm just going to draw that flat part. I'm going to draw that L, which I did backwards. Well, how did I do that? Because I was looking at the screen instead of looking at what's in front of me. There, now we match. Okay, check the table. So this is a triangle again. If I can get my shapes right, but it's rounded. So I'm going to pencil in a rounded triangle. Same thing on this side. Kind of looks like a smiley face, right? So from here, you just build up. And again, we have exactly vertical on both sides, and I can see two. So this one's kind of already here for me. This one I will add in. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Remember, they stay parallel to each other, so they're nice and straight. Then comes the top. The top is a little bit of a trick because I want it to be the same as the bottom, right? But what often happens is people do this. Which is a little mixed up because if I'm looking at this straight on, it's a circle. But if I'm not looking at straight on, if I can get my pencil to trace that without being in the way, now I see an oval or an ellipse. It's called foreshortening. It's an optical illusion. So this is not actually going to be a circle on top unless I was standing right over it. It's going to be an ellipse. And the easiest way to do this is that I close one eye and I just take my pencil and I trace what I can see as an ellipse and I get some memory going. And then I come down here and sketch it onto my paper. It works really well, actually. Okay. So now I have that ellipse at the top. So again, I would commit to the lines that I want to keep. Erase out all my extras. And a nice little touch, see it's floating in the middle of the paper. Behind the bottom, or above the bottom, put in a little horizon line so it's not floating anymore. All right? Okay, I'm gonna do one more and then you guys get to try it. Let's do a triangular prism, because it's not straight. Okay, pencil. All right, so I'm gonna start the same way. Reference points. Do those pencil lines. Okay? Then I'm gonna look at the table. There's a little flat triangle right there. It's pretty long and skinny there. So put in that triangle. Same thing on the other side. In this case, it's a little bigger. So I'm gonna put that in. We'll worry about proportions on a different lesson, but this is just basic. Now, I have to draw what I see here. And if I put my pencil up here, it's not vertical, right? My pencil is vertical. This is hard with not cover up the camera. This line is not vertical. So I'm gonna put my pencil here and I see this space. See this space that happens in there? Do you see that triangle? So now we have something flat or something negative space. So I'm going to just mark the top. This is going to be my top, right? Okay, and here I already have this line. I already have what's essentially the pencil. So I'm just going to draw in that triangle. Oops. All right, same thing on the other side. Draw in that negative space triangle. And then we just know that that point attaches to this point, and we have our triangular prism. So from here, actually I need to fix this. I erase out the lines that I don't want. It's floating. So above the bottom, I put a nice horizon line in, and there it is. Okay, now, you might be looking this and be like, oh, well, you make it look so easy because, oh, look, you have a degree in art, you went to college, you learned how to do it, you've been teaching it, you practice it. It is actually that easy. You just have to look at those reference points and make things flat. So I'm